Hey everybody. So I want to talk about Alex Ovechkin a little bit here because Ovechkin crossed the 50 goal mark. I believe it's for the 8th time in his career. Last night he scored his 50th and 51st goal against the Lightning, and he's had an absolutely incredible season this year. Coming off a Stanley Cup winning season last year, he did not reach 50 goals last year. Nobody did. But he came back this year after, they didn't have nearly as long of an offseason as they usually do because they won the Stanley Cup. They had a much busier offseason than they normally do because they won the Stanley Cup. We all know about the hard partying that Ovechkin and many of the Capitals players did, and they came right back this year. They're winning the Metro Division. They're locked into the playoffs. And Alex Ovechkin, at 33 years old, has showed zero signs of slowing down. Absolutely zero signs of slowing down. He has 51 goals in 78 games this year. He has 88 points on the season. So with 4 games left, he's absolutely going to go over the 90-point mark. He's not going to get to 100, but he's going to go over 90. He already has 50 goals, and it's been a phenomenal season for Ovechkin, and I think the more I watch Ovechkin go into his career and watch him play, the more I just love the guy, the more respect I have for him, and the greater of a player I think he is. This is a guy who is an all-time NHL great player. He is without a doubt, in my mind, the best goal scorer of this entire generation. There's no one close as far as pure goal scorer. Numbers wise, he scores so many. He's been doing it for so long. He was drafted in 2004. I mean, it's been over 10 years. He's been in the league for a long time now. And he just does it year in and year out and year in and year out. He's had a couple of bad seasons along the way, but the consistency, the ability to do it post 30, there are a lot of players who can really rip goals in their prime, and when they're 27, 28, 29, sure, they can put up big numbers. Ovechkin has put up big numbers from the time he was 18 until now at 33 years old, and I don't see him slowing down. There is no reason to believe that he's going to be slowing down at all in the next couple of years. I think you'll get this level of production at least until he's 35. Once he gets over 35, and with his style of play, he's a very physical player. He's not afraid to use his body, and he's a big guy, but he does, there is some wear and tear on his body with the way he plays the game. Once he gets over 35, I think we may see some sort of a decline, and his play may start to fade off a little bit, but that's at least a couple seasons away. And I think he proved that this year, where he comes off the season last year that they had, the Stanley Cup run, the off season that they had, and he shows no signs of dropping off, no signs of decline. In fact, I think he's been better this season than he played last season. Maybe not in the playoffs, but he had a better regular season this year than he had last year, without a doubt. And we'll see what they do in the playoffs again this year. I don't have the Capitals winning the Cup again. I think it's too hard to repeat. I think, it takes so much out of you to go through a Stanley Cup run once. Usually by the playoffs the next season, there's just so much fatigue there, and it's really, really, really hard to do. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but I'm not picking the Capitals to win this year. But again, you got to expect at least another second-round appearance, if not deeper, for Washington. They could easily go to the conference final again. So, we'll see what he does, but there's no reason to believe that he's going to drop off at all, that his play is going to decline at all. And I don't think it is. He's been incredible his entire career, but this season in particular, seeing him get to 50 again, it's remarkable to me. At his age, given, what should have been a Stanley Cup hangover, what should have been a kind of a fatigue-filled season, the Capitals should have been tired, but they don't look tired. They look ready to go on another deep run, and Ovechkin looks ready to go on another deep run, and I just think it's remarkable, and he is without a doubt a generational NHL player. He is without a doubt one of the greatest players of this generation, and I think he is the greatest goal scorer of this generation. Just what a remarkable career he's had, and to see him get to 50 for the 8th time, I mean, you don't see that anymore. Nobody scores goals consistently at that rate anymore. You had lots of 50 goal scorers back in the 80s and even into the early 90s when you had wide open, hockey wasn't that defensive. You had high scoring games. You had, especially in the 80s, and as the 80s progressed, scoring skyrocketed to levels that we will never see again in the NHL. That's when you had guys like Gretzky and Lemieux putting up, hundreds of points a year. You will never see that again in the NHL. In the modern era, getting to 100 points is extremely difficult. Getting to 50 goals is extremely difficult. And Ovechkin scored 58 times. And speaking on the points this year, we have a lot of 100-point scorers already. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 100-point scorers already, and another 3 or 4 guys that have a chance to potentially get to 100. At least it's a possibility. So, it wasn't that long ago we had no 100-point scorers in the league. It wasn't that long ago I remember Jamie Benn leading the NHL in points with 87. Didn't have a single guy get to 90 points that year. I forget what year that was, but I know Ben won the most points in the league with 87. Offense is starting to go back up, and Ovechkin is not slowing down. So I see no reason to think that Ovechkin can't come back and score 50 again next year, do it for the 9th time. But it's just been an incredible year for Alex Ovechkin, a great season for the Washington Capitals. And, Ovechkin's an all-time player, and I don't see him slowing down yet. He's 33, but he hasn't looked 30. A lot of times players go over that 30 mark, and you can see, okay, they're 30 plus now. He hasn't shown any signs of that. And in fact, he got better. He got better this season than he was last season. So, I fully expect him to continue to play at this level for at least a couple more years. And then once he gets over 35, I think inevitably we're going to see Father Time come and have an effect. But that's just not happening yet. Not right now. He's once again having a phenomenal season. So congratulations to Alex Ovechkin on scoring 50 goals again. I don't know if anyone else is going to reach 50. Leon Draisaitl might. He's at 47, and they've got a few games left, so he potentially could. John Tavares is next at 45. I don't think he scores 5 more goals in they have 4 remaining games. I don't think he scores 5 more in 4 games. And everyone below Tavares has no shot because they're at 41, and there's a bunch of guys at 41. But we do have 9 40-goal scorers this season already, and the potential for a number more, up to potentially 12, unless somebody goes off. We got a bunch of guys at 37 as well. If they go off, then all it takes is a Hattie, and they're at 40. But I don't know. We'll see. But there's been a lot of goal scoring this year, and Alex Ovechkin has led the way. At 33 years old, he has led the way with 51. So congratulations to him on a phenomenal season. And the more Ovechkin does this, the more he plays, the more he continues to play at this level, the more respect I have for him, and the more I think the higher I think of him as an all-time great player, which he already was without a doubt, but he is just moving up and up and up in the all-time ranks. what an incredible career. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.